It is about time to get my hair redone. The hair's not staying. Also, I have an eyelash that's just like blinking in the distance. What is going? Oh my gosh, what is going on? I have to get my notes. It's a mess. It's 6 o'clock, which is earlier than I normally get to record, which I'm so I'm so freaking happy about because I just don't have words. I literally don't have words while my eyelash just keeps doing whatever it wants to do. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but I gotta get my notes so that we can get started. There we go. Got my notes. So we're winning in my opinion, except for my eyelashes, which are losing. They're losing the fight. They aren't winning, but let's go. This episode is brought to you by Claimed & Co., a full-service digital marketing and social media agency built for future-focused brands. Born in Detroit and serving clients worldwide, Claim & Co. helps founders and business owners turn bold ideas into powerful online presence. Whether it's social media management, email marketing, or high-level brand strategy, they're not just posting content, they're building momentum. And if you're not quite ready to hire an agency yet, start with their CMO audit. This is the deep dive, the let's figure out what's actually going on moment. Claimed & Co. will audit your entire online presence and give you clear, strategic recommendations before you invest another dollar in marketing. It's normally $497, but listeners of this show get 50% off because clarity shouldn't feel out of reach. With 19 years of marketing experience and 7 years leading Claimed & Co., they know what it takes to build brands that last. If you're a founder, business owner, or a woman ready to elevate your personal brand and create a healthier, wealthier business and life, this is your sign. Visit Claim & Co. and take your first strategic step forward. Hey, Unbothered fam. Welcome back to another episode of Basically Unbothered Recapped, where we recap TV shows, books, music, everything like that. And we got some shit to talk about. We got some shit. Cause I actually finished a book. Uh, uh, Winning. I finished The Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman, which I said I've been reading for about 2 months now. And it was so good, but it was a really, really long book. And it took me a long time to just kind of get through it. A lot of her writing is, if you're not in the groove, it's hard to really lock in. But once you lock in, it was really good. It just kind of had a slower kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Slower kind of beginning to the book. And that took me a long time. And I just haven't been in the right mood to read books recently. But let me tell you, when I finished that book, I was like, I love this. I gave it 4 stars. I have my notes. Hold on. Cause I put a little picture, boom, little Book of Magic picture. And I said it was a good book, but it took so long for it to get to the real of it. And it did. A lot of it in the beginning was kind of just like a hype. And to get to the real part of the book, it took a long time. It took me a lot longer than I thought to finish, but the message and the themes were so good. The power of love and to keep searching for it no matter the cost because it is always worth it. That was kind of the book's theme. This is the sequel to Practical Magic. So if you didn't know, I'm sorry to break it to you. Practical Magic is a book. You should probably go read it. Uh, Book of Magic is actually going to be Practical Magic 2. So that's the movie that's coming out this year. And of course I had to read the book before it comes out because that's my rule. If I want to watch a movie that's based off of a book that I know is based off of a book, because sometimes I watch the movies and I don't know it's based off of a book. But if I do, I have to read the book first. And I love Practical Magic. So there was no way I was going into this season of movies that I really, really want to see without having read this book. I'm so happy that I finished it. I do highly recommend it to anyone. It's definitely a beautiful work of art, and her writing is so different than other writers that you'll see often. And it's refreshing, but it does, like I said, it does take a little bit of time to fully invest and fully get into it. That's okay. It's worth it. Read the book. Music wise, my girls, Blackpink came out with a new album, Deadline. And the way that I'm bumping it, the way that I am just going insane. I need it on vinyl immediately. Somebody send me the vinyl. I need it on vinyl immediately. It's such a good album. If you like K-pop, Blackpink does a lot of like hip hop, EDM, house kind of things, but this one is definitely really lenient and or really leaning into the EDM. You still get your hip hop. I love the I can't take full EDM. It's so stressful for me. I love the EDM house music, whatever you want to call it, breaks that happen in the songs. It's so fun. It's so entertaining. They do as they always do. They kind of, poke at the patriarchy a little bit as women. They also they always have a song on the album that's about empowerment and you can do it. This one is called, oh, I have to look it up. Music. Luckily, it's already on my player. It's called Champion. And honestly, if that was not the song that I needed the most in my life right now, it is so relevant to what's going on with me personally. I can't speak for anybody else, but it is really so relevant to me and what's going on in my life right now. And I'm so happy that I got this new album. I'm not going to rate the album. I don't do really good at rating music, but I would definitely say if you're a K-pop fan, even if you're not a K-pop fan and you're looking to branch out, give it a go. So many people think that when it's K-pop or the music is in a different language that you may not be able to understand, you can't vibe with it. And I'm here to say that that is 100% not true. You can definitely vibe with different music, even if you don't feel like it vibes with you. Just my opinion. I think it's worth it. I hope they go on concert, and I have to sell a kidney to get to this concert. I've tried to go to their concerts so many freaking times. So many times. It's insane. And I've never been able to go. So they come out with a concert in the US. I definitely, definitely need to go. I'm so excited for this album to come out. I wasn't even paying attention because I've been having a break from Blackpink. Not because I don't like them, but my music, what I want to listen to, it just shifts sometimes. So sometimes I'm not in the mood for Blackpink. And because I'm neurodivergent, what happens is I get really obsessed with this and then I burn it out of my system and then I can't listen to it anymore. And then I get really obsessed with it again. But I also had a period where I was very obsessed with Tori Kelly, sang with Jessie Reyes, sang with Blackpink, always Janae Aiko. I just let my brain just do what it wants to do at this point. But it's definitely, definitely worth a listen. And I just feel good that I finished a book and an album. Like I'm achieving goals, which feels amazing. Also, I have a video on TikTok right now that is kind of mini viral. And I didn't expect it. I went to Jackson to get some more things for my house, and it was really emotional for me. And I was sitting and I was unpacking my clothes and putting them in my closet. And, I'm ending this chapter of my life and I'm beginning a new chapter. And it really made me think of my best friend who committed suicide and how sad it is to me that part of the reason why she did it was that she just didn't think that there was a way out. And how beautiful it is to me to think about how there is something on the other side. She was so afraid of starting over and didn't really give herself the chance to really kind of do these things. And I'm now kind of walking in the shoes that she was afraid to do, which is just wild to me. But I shared that experience on TikTok, and I guess a lot of people resonated with it. And it kind of makes me sad a bit that people resonated with something that's so emotional and so sad, and that so many people have had loved ones that have committed suicide, and so many people have had to have very traumatic things happen in their life where they have to start completely over. There's so many comments, and I've tried to read as many as I can while keeping sane. But so many comments about just how people are struggling right now, and that is just, it's kind of sad to me, you know? I wish that there was more that I could do for people. And I know that one day when I make it, I'm going to have the ability to do that for more people. And that's something that kind of keeps me going when it all falls apart. So I just wanted to share that little bit of tidbit. Oh, also, I watched Scrubs. It was amazing. Go watch it. Go watch it. I can't. I was like sitting here and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired because I recorded Indie Ink podcast, which go listen to that too. And I'm just exhausted, you know? I thought about watching Scrubs and like, oh, it'll just be a really funny thing to get through really quickly. But then I was like, no, just focus on all of these other things you need to do because I'm doing so much all the time. But I'm probably going to watch it when I go home tonight. It's hard because I've been consuming so much. I watched the Traitors reunion, Love is Blind, Ohio. I'm getting ready to have, things are about to amp up on Recapped. We're getting ready to go into Secret Life of the Mormon Wives season. That drops next week. And then we're getting ready to go into a super fun thing that I cannot wait to announce for you guys. That's going to be a part of The Bachelorette, because we're going to be watching The Bachelorette right after we talk about The Secret Life of Mormon Wives. Can't wait. So excited. And just really getting an opportunity to get through some things. I do still want to get into Bridgerton. I just haven't been in the mood for Bridgerton or Emily in Paris. So I'm not ignoring them. I'm just allowing my body to kind of go in its whim. But while we're on that topic, let's talk about things that are coming out soon. I had my notes. There we go. All right. New shows that are coming out. They do have, before The Bachelorette comes out, they have the Bachelor Mansion Makeover on HGTV. I love HGTV. I don't know if you know that about me. I really, 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 really do. I love interior design and home makeovers. It's like a secret love of mine. I don't watch it enough, but if I'm really overstimulated and I just want a good show to have on in the background, I'm a big fan of Chip and Joanna Gaines. They have their own network. I just didn't watch that. That is coming out it was already out. It came out on the 2nd. On the 3rd, Young Sherlock comes out, or came out on Prime. I'm kind of interested in it. I'm kind of not interested in it. I don't know if it seems like my kind of thing, but I am a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. I actually do have a copy of the full collection of Sherlock Holmes. I haven't finished reading it yet, but I do have the entire collection. So Vladimir is coming out on Netflix today. Today. Oh, well, yesterday for you guys, today for me. I was excited for this because I thought Vladimir was going to be like a vampire. It's not, but it does look like an interesting love story. And, Netflix does love stories pretty well. So maybe it'll be good. Um, Friends Like These, that is what I want to watch. I want to watch it and I want to record it. It's true crime. I love true crime. I love true crime. I love true crime. I love true crime. But it's about a true crime story where a girl gets betrayed by her friends. Ooh, scandalous. I'm hoping to watch that and cover that, but so much is going on, guys. So much is going on. I'm going to try my best. Top Chef is coming out, and we're talking about Traitors tonight. So highlighting Top Chef just feels right. And then One Piece is coming out on March 10th back on Netflix. I have to add a little anime in it. I tried watching One Piece, the anime. There's a lot of filler episodes, guys, and there's so many episodes, and I just don't understand why there's so many episodes, but there are. What am I supposed to do with this? Is my general question. What would you like me to do with all this information? No one knows yet, but that's out. And so definitely look forward to seeing some of those. There's no movies coming out this week that are interesting me, which means that there's no movies coming out that I think would interest you. I read this article on Substack, and I am very interested in how people are viewing Wuthering Heights. I didn't know that Wuthering Heights didn't cover the full part of the book, which makes sense because a lot of the marketing seemed a little too happy for Wuthering Heights. If you've ever read Wuthering Heights, it's not a happy book. And there's been a lot of controversy around it, and I haven't seen it, but I have been loving loving reading the hate that has come out about it. That being said, though, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, which is the Traitors reunion. All right, Unbothered fam, let's talk taxes for a second because I am very particular about one thing. I like to get my taxes done early and out of the way so I can be stress free for the rest of the year. No last minute panic, no scrambling, no vibes being ruined. That's why I want to put my unbothered fans onto SSB Legacy Tax Services, LLC. Samantha is a small business tax professional whose whole focus is getting you the maximum refund while making the process clear and easy. She also offers cash advances up to $7,500, $75 referral bonuses, and actually takes the time to educate you so you know what's happening with your money. And because we are all unbothered together, I'm going to give you an in. If you text unbothered to 586 345 1055, you will receive $50 off your tax prep fees. Early, easy, stress free, just how we like it. Quick pause, because if you love dark stories that don't flinch, Olympic War isn't a soft love story. It's violent, it's chosen, and it costs everything. Through war, betrayal, and survival, Moonstone fights for devotion that refuses to die. This is a Black, multicultural dystopian series about power, sacrifice, and what rises from the ashes. Olympic War and Phoenix War. Read them wherever books are sold. Now, I already told you guys when Candace left, I left. But I did promise that I would cover the reunion. And I just want to say I'm so happy I didn't watch the last couple of episodes because it just would have pissed me off. And everyone just would have pissed me off. And the ending is so sad. I did watch clips of the ending. I watched the end, like the very end where Rob, because Rob wins, when Rob reveals himself as the traitor. And it's so sad because he gassed up Mora so much and promised her all these things and things that just felt like were unnecessary. And, we're going to win this all of this. And then you see her whole face decline as she finds out, and she calls herself stupid, which is so sad because you're not stupid that you got played by a white man. You're welcome to history. Welcome to history. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's how it rolls. That is what happened, sadly. But that was the ending of it. I'm glad I didn't watch it. I'm glad I didn't watch the stupidity. I saw that Johnny and, for the love of me, I cannot remember her name right now. Tara. Johnny and Tara figured it out. And this is what makes me mad though. Johnny and Tara figured it out. They look Mora in her face and say, trust me, woman to woman, trust me, Rob is a traitor. And she doesn't listen to them and she picks him. And like, that's the part that makes me the most sad, is that she was so enamored or whatever in this belief and trust in him that even when someone was looking her in the face and saying, hey, this isn't it, she see it. And it reminds me so much of like toxic relationships that you get into when people are trying to tell you, hey, this person is doing you dirty. This person's doing you wrong. I know this from personal experience. And you are just so blind to it because you're stuck in this weird thing where you really trust this person, even though you know you don't, you shouldn't really trust this person. And you kind of just double down on it. And that is definitely where Mora lands. But before we get into it, let's talk about the fashion because I love Traitors is a fashion show. I think Mora said it best. I just came on the show to show off my fashion. So let's talk about some of the fashion loves that I had for the reunion. Tiffany, you got to get mentioned first. Fabulous. Her hair and makeup, whoever did that for her deserves an award. Her hair and makeup was fantastic. Her outfit was fantastic. She looked like a queen. She was a queen. I wish they would have given Queen Tiffany more screen time. Legitimately wish that they would have. Lisa's outfits are always giving to me. They're avant-garde a little bit. They're a little different and I freaking love them. Portia also had a really good look. I very much love that. Michael did not try. He didn't. He didn't even try. And I love that for him. And Mora, the queen who said that she only came here for the fashion looked gorgeous. Candace look was okay. Ron, who's a comedian, that I just learned is on a TV show on Apple TV. He called her like a baked potato, which I didn't appreciate. But Candace's outfits are always kind of very distinct, and you either really love them or you really don't. It was okay for me. I wasn't really feeling it, but it was what it was. Fashion off. Let's get into Rob. Because Rob. Rob wins. He won, I think they said he won $200,000. Okay. And he's been going down as one of the best traders in the entirety of Traitors, which I just feel like is insane. And everyone's like, yeah, he had such good gameplay. Name his gameplay. Name his strategy. Because Rob's greatest strength was his ability to get women to believe him. That is what he did best. And then betray them. And not just women, even though most of them were women. He had an uncanny ability to get people to trust him. It's something that we saw on Love Island. It's something that we saw again on Traitors. There's just something about him that it's almost like they want to like him, or they want to like him, or they want him to like them, that they are blindsided by this. And I think I'm going to be hard on Rob, but I want to say before this, Rob has come out wearing an Ice Out pen, which we really, truly appreciate. And he's made statements about it. I think that Rob is a decent human being for the most part. He just has like questionable morals, and he cares about himself. And people are gonna be like, that's so hard. I think there are people who can be good people, but still make really bad choices and really hurt people. And that's a complexity that you can find in a human. And I think Rob really shows that complexity. But I do think that Rob's problem is Rob is a guy's guy. And it even shows when he could have picked another traitor that was female. He could have, let's all be clear, guys. He could have picked Mora. He could have picked Mora to be his traitor with him after he got Candace kicked out. And instead, he picked Eric. He could have picked Mora, and Mora would have went on with him to win. But he picked Eric. And there's just something about Rob with women that it just doesn't quite track. When it benefits Rob turns on people though. This is something that was shown when they were having this conversation about Lisa and Candace, and it's shown through all of this. He's he's trying to defend himself and he says all these things, but he has no loyalty. And when we get into it, Candace starts clocking Rob. Lisa and Candace starts clocking Rob. And Rob tries to defend himself. And he tries to say, well, with Lisa, the ship was sinking. And I love how both of them were like, the ship was not sinking until you started sinking it. And that's when Candace drops her little golden nugget and says, oh, I have something. I have something to talk about. And don't worry, it's going to come up. I'm just waiting for everybody else to get out here. And we're all like, ooh, what's this going to be? But it was very clear. And I love how both of them commented on it that they could have wrote it out to the end. Rob could have had their back more. And that's something I wish that got explored a little bit more, but you can't explore something to ad nauseum. So but Rob could have really had their back more. And I think that's my frustration. And where I feel like he has the lack of respect for women is that he didn't. And maybe he just has a lack of respect for people. And it was just showcased the most through women. But when he was on Love Island, he didn't have women's backs, but he sure had his boy Aaron, who was doing dog, 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 and dog. He had his back. So it just, he could have stayed loyal. He could have held down Lisa, especially after Lisa did the murder in plain sight, but he didn't. And the hardest part was that, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's when the ship was sinking. Well, he actually was plotting on Lisa before that. He had already dropped Lisa's name before that. And Lisa still went out on a limb and had his back and everything. It's hard to say that. It's hard to watch that instead of having their backs, when the immediate sensation that something was going wrong, his go-to was to protect himself. And when he's trying to defend himself and what he did in his choices, he told a Black woman that he wanted to be on the right side of history. He told Candace, I want to be on the right side of history. And I'm just like, you should probably take that back. You should probably. The right side of history. So for those who don't know, the right side of history is a statement that has been used in many types of things where I may not be, when someone is going against the grain, when there are wrong things that are happening in the world and someone is going against that grain and against those wrong things and calling it out, that is what is kind of known as the right side of history. And I can't remember the exact quote, but it's like, I'm going to look it up. So one of the quotes is, to be on the right side of history is to advocate for the rights and well-being of all people. And the fact that this was just the thing that he used when, again, as a white man, it just rang so tone deaf. It just rang so tone deaf and like, God, Rob, read the room. And even in this, he's using the right side of history to defend his behavior towards Lisa and Candace and his betrayal of them. And that's not even the right side of history. When you look at this, the right side of history is about being ethically and morally correct. And that is not something that Rob showcased at all throughout this entire time. And some are going to argue, well, the show is the Traitors. And sure, yeah, you're right. But there's like a code of ethics among thieves, and when you betray that, you get ousted. And unfortunately, Rob's biggest thing was that he was an attractive white male, and people believed him over women and people believed him over African Americans because he was an attractive white male. And I wish that was called out more in this conversation that they were having and the back and forth. But I still just loved that Candace was clocking him. She said from the beginning, Rob's plan was to be the last one standing. And he's like, no, that wasn't my plan. That wasn't my plan. And I think that she quoted something that he said earlier on in the beginning of the season, but that was 100% his plan. And it was clear that it's his plan because remember, action speaks louder than words. It's clear that it was his plan because every time his actions had a chance to speak, they spoke for himself. Every time he had the opportunity to make an action to help someone, to defend someone, to protect someone, the actions defended himself. And I love that Candace clocked him for that. I love that. And then she had this iconic line, which is put your big panties on and own that. And yes, like Rob is known for not being able to handle being under pressure in those situations with women specifically, and accountability and be able to own up to his stuff. And Candace is right. Put your big boy panties on and own it. You don't, Rob really wants to be this likable guy and this innocent guy and the cute face and all that. But like the truth is you were ruthless. Own it. Like, just own it. That was your gameplay from the beginning. And Rob did eventually admit that he didn't trust them from the beginning. And there we go. Rob has a trust problem. Rob Rob legitimately has a trust problem, and he has a consistency problem, and he kind of bounces over back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It was frustrating. Then after we get into this, we talk about Rob's betrayal of Maura. And one of the first things that really pissed me off was Rob still trying to argue semantics with how he treated Maura instead of taking accountability for his actions. Oh, I didn't say that, but I did say it this way. Or, you know, it, she was, there were a lot of people that were the victim of Rob's desire to be the sole winner of the Traitors. To me, Maura was the biggest victim because Candace and Lisa at least had a fighting chance. Maura did not. Maura did not have a fighting chance. She had no information. She blindly trusted him. They were linked from the beginning. He knew that. He used that. And in the end, after all of the admissions and we're going to be this in the end and we're going to win and we're going to split the money, she was the one left standing. Just like, what do I do? What do I do? And watching her realize it was heartbreaking. And I talked about this earlier about how she trusted Rob over the women around her. Watching some of the things that Rob said to her to get her to trust him, he went overboard for sure. He went overboard. He didn't have to say all those things to get her to trust him. He worked really hard for that. And she truly believed it. And it hurt for her to go on and, call herself stupid and how dumb she is. That was really sad to see because there's a lot of internal pain that you can see there. And it's sad that, Rob brought this out of her. It was just, man, that was probably the hardest part, is just watching herself call herself stupid over and over and over again. And there's no, Rob saying, you're not stupid, but there's really no defense that he has, even though, let's be clear, Candace was clocking people. Candace did, say that people did try to warn you and you ignored that. And that part you were ignorant in. Again, you fell for this attractive white male and there you go. And that was true, but watching her blame herself was really hurtful. Then this is such an insulting thing. Then to find out that Rob promised her he'd buy her a Birkin bag. Now, Andy Cohen is like, okay, well, Birkin bag's what? And then Lisa Rinna goes like, 10K. He won was it 200K? Over 200K. He won over 200K. And you mean to tell me you won over 200K and you were going to buy me a Birkin bag? Boy, if it was split, let me give you this. If you told me on national TV that we were going to win it all together, we were going to split this money together, it was going to be us, and all I got was a Birkin bag, crazy. Portia goes, fuck a purse. He won't even buy a shirt. Died. It was so funny, but like, agree. Also, A Birkin bag is awesome and it's really hard to get, and I love that for her. But she, the betrayal that happened was worth way more than $10,000. I'm just saying. And the fact that it just is just so much how he played her, how he tried to sell her a dream, how he tried to promise her things. It was intentional. And that's not something you can just buy out. It was intentional emotional manipulation that he didn't need to do. He didn't need to do all of this emotional manipulation to get her to see his side. Because guess what? She was already there. He didn't need to say all of these things. He just had to, be who he was, and she would have already trusted him. Him overselling it, gassing her up, is some of the most heartbreaking display of pseudo misogynistic. I don't even know if that's the right word, but like how you can see misogyny played out in everyday life, just like we talk about implicit bias, like implicit misogyny, is that's kind of what it was. It was very blatant, you know, his whole play in this entire season of Traitors was that. And that's why it was so hard for me to watch it. I get that in real life all the time. Why do I need to see this on my TV screen? I don't. That's the answer. I don't need to see this on my TV screen. It was horrible to watch. It just wasn't what I needed. But hopping off of Rob, he wasn't the only one that I hated. In fact, the person I hated the most was Colton. And guess what? Colton comes in. Ugh. And I hated that we had to give Colton screen. I hated that Colton got more screen time than Tiffany. I hate that we give so much screen time and attention to the abuser and not the people that they abuse. And I stand by that. Colton getting screen time as someone who is the abuser in many situations is so frustrating to me because, again, about accountability, we're not holding Colton accountable for his actions on the show, for his actions in life. And Colton doesn't care. He came on the show and he's claimed that he has no regrets. He has no regrets about this gameplay. He has no regrets about the things that he did, what he said, how he came for Tiffany, how he came for other people. No regrets. And that's so weird to me. What do you mean? You harassed people. You said really fucked up shit to people. And Tiffany's gone on and on podcasts and said that that wasn't even the half of it. There was so much worse. And you don't even, after you have been publicly called out for your behavior on the show and for your behavior previously, you still don't find the time to keep accountability for your actions. And that's what's wrong with him. Like that's his internal, like external, ugh. He gives me the ick. He gives me the ick. And the fact that he has to be a part of the LGBTQIA plus community just irritates my soul because the ways in which I don't want this man associated with our group at all. I, can we give him back? There's so much work that is done in that community about inclusion and acceptance. And that's one of the things that he just doesn't do. And he doesn't take accountability. And it shows over and over and over again. He has no integrity. And speaking of no integrity, when everybody else comes out, we finally get to hear what Candace was talking about. And it came out that Rob told Colton that Candace and Lisa were traitors. And then again, Rob comes with semantics and Colton goes, well, you said Candace and Lisa were working together. But it comes out that even though it's against the rules of the game, Rob outed Candace and Lisa. Colton told Candace this, which again, no integrity. You're just throwing your boy under the bus. And they worked together to get Candace and Lisa out. And again, not enough time was dedicated to that. That two white males worked together to get a woman of color and another woman out. It doesn't seem that fucked up to you guys? Like I'm confused. Apparently not. Apparently we were just rolling with it and everything was okay. And I can't stand it. We can't stand for this anymore. Like, these things need to be called out. And the fact that we didn't spend enough time doing that and talking about how that was against the gameplay, and how, once again, going back to how Rob said that he didn't trust them, and them saying Rob from the beginning gameplay was to win it on his own. There you go. He sold his other traders out. And, he had these alliances, but his alliances that weren't in alignment with the real alliance he should have had were more valuable to him than keeping an alliance with his traders. And that was just crazy. But then Colton tries to swing. I don't know why this man is swinging. I don't know why this man is on us. The moment that the story about him harassing a woman resurfaced, Peacock should have uninvited him to the reunion the moment that it resurfaced. But it once again shows that we don't really care about women. And it shows that Colton doesn't really care about women, because he said something about how he was upset about Lisa using the word trying to hold him hostage or whatever. And then he tried to flip Lisa's words as she tried to explain that. And he was like, I didn't really like that. I didn't think that was appropriate. And I'm just like, irony, because you were stalking a woman. You were standing outside of her door at her family's house, watching her. But the holding hostage comment, way too far. Actually kind of doing it, no. The comment, though, way too far. Cool. Got it. And then he tries to get, like, this is what he's doing. He uses the hostage situation and mention it. And then he tries to get sympathy. He tries to relate the hostage situation to his life and him coming out. And he refers to that time as a dark moment in his past. And he just, he does it to garner sympathy and get people to feel for him. And he's really good at doing this. His deflection is to make people feel bad for him. But the dark period in your life, Colton, was when you were stalking a woman, the woman that you were so quote unquote in love with on The Bachelor, that you hopped a fence because you wanted to be with her, got with her, broke up, and then started to stalk her, started to send text messages harassing her, started to send harassing text messages to her and yourself, trying to pretend like you both were getting these messages, when in reality, you were sending the messages to you and her. That's not a dark period in your, like, you're making it seem like you were a victim of something. You were the aggressor. You were the aggressor in this situation. And again, you had time to take accountability, show some integrity, and mention it and talk about it. And even if you don't have to talk about it, say you've done some things in your past that you're not proud of, and you anything but trying to play the victim once again. But you know what? That's all. Him and Rob do this so well. All they want to do is play the victim. All they want to do is show, hey, I'm the one hurt here. I'm the one really struggling. Yeah, sure you are. All right. Then they start talking about who was attractive and how everybody was falling for Rob because Rob is so attractive. And the one-liner that Tiffany gives saying, I didn't think he was hot, was yes, 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 Tiffany. Give it out. That was kind of like my one moment of glory before we get into Michael. I love Michael. I've seen Tiffany come out on her social media and say, Lisa and Candace and even Michael, whether you like him or not, have been so supportive of them. And that's what, again, actions speak louder than words. Michael's words speak real loud, and he intentionally sometimes eggs people on, and he goes on these tangents and they don't really make sense. It was frustrating because in the beginning, he gets so passionate. Like in the beginning, he really, really is making a point. And then he gets passionate and he goes off and it just becomes like chaos. And I think he kind of likes it a little bit. But he did apologize to Colton, which I appreciated, even though I didn't think he needed to, because it was clear that his comment wasn't about Colton being gay. But let's give that man more apologies, although he refused to give apologies to the people that he's hurted. But whatever, the bigger man eventually is Michael. Then we get into this weird segment where we're doing an award show. And there were a lot of weird segments in this, but this one we're doing an award show. And it was the best top costume design or best dress, basically. And Mora won, and she got a little fake gold people body thing. And she mentioned about how awesome it was because she's never won anything in her whole life, which was sweet. Seeing that she finally won something after having taken the biggest L in 2026. But Rob giving her a Birkin bag doesn't fix everything. I'm gonna keep saying that. I'm gonna keep saying that. The rest of the reunion though, it wasn't what you really wanted. It wasn't as salacious. It didn't tackle the things that really, what we really wanted to hear and we really wanted to address. There were way too many gimmicks taking up time, and I imagine that was just to be funny or to make light of a situation that was, kind of dark, because we're having real conversations about the societal impact that this show has and how the show highlights what's going on in our society right now and in general. And that wasn't talked about. And there weren't a lot of real conversations that should have been had. I do wish that they had an exit montage that kind of showed the evil, vindictive ways of Rob. And I also wish that there was, like I said, conversations about the social implications of the show. What is it really saying? How is it making people feel? There were a lot of conversation around that. And Peacock really missed the ball on keeping that open and honest. And that was really frustrating because here's the time to really talk about it and affect change. And we got no change. I also didn't like that no one addressed the abuse that Tiffany experienced from Colton. And maybe they did and they just didn't show it, because I know that they record a lot of the reunion, but we only see very little of it. But I didn't like the fact that Colton's abuse towards the other faithfuls wasn't addressed. And it felt like the reunion was praising Rob's betrayal, and I get it. I get it. He was the winner, and we should give some note to that. I understand, but at the same time, it was just frustrating. And this is exactly why I say I could never play a game like this, because there's no honesty even in the reunion when we're supposed to tackle the real issues. It's just meant to honestly bring people down. I don't think I could do the show and have to do the battles. And, I've been feeling a lot other recently in the military and in other aspects of my life, having to deal with feeling so disconnected in situations where I'm the only Black woman or one of the only Black women or one of the only Black people in general. And I don't think I could go on a show that highlighted that feeling. I got into a disagreement with someone recently about things that are going on in the world. And although there are people around me that were male and white and such that agreed with me, I was the only one saying something. And then the person who I was saying it to or against kind of did the same thing that Rob and Colton did, where they fall back and they go, "Oh no, I don't know," and play victim or play innocent or whatever. And it highlights and makes you look like the angry Black woman. And I don't ever want to go on a show that intentionally puts me in a situation where that could happen, where you could showcase the beliefs that some people in society hold that are prejudiced against people. I have no desire to do that. I have no desire to contribute to anything like that in any kind of way. And social games like this, they're not my vibe. To close it out though, Rob wasn't a master strategist. He was an attractive white male. Feel about that however you want. I posted that on social media and a lot of people went in arms and were arguing about it and, oh my gosh, yes he is, and yada yada yada. And no, he wasn't. Like, you guys can't name his strategy. And someone tried to, but the strategy that he named was the strategy that they had together. the most strategic thing that you could say was that he let Colton get eliminated. Outside of that, that was just no. I think Candace was more strategic than him, but the people wouldn't pay attention to her because she's a woman of color. And even though she gave them all the clues, they just wouldn't listen because they chose to listen to Rob. And there's a lot of studies that talk about how people inherently just trust and believe white males. And I would say, look at what's going on in society right now. Look at how many people are garnering trust due to their demographic alignment without ever actually earning it. But at the end of the day, he was just someone that people trusted because of the way that he looked. And that's a very different thing from strategy and how the game is played, quote unquote, unquote, whatever. We're going to end there. I'm so glad to be done with this chapter. I'm so glad to be done with this chapter. I'm so glad I don't have to talk about the Traitors, hopefully ever again. Next episode, we are going to hit on Love is Blind. I'm very excited for that. I finished it. There's I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to talk about it. And don't forget that next week we're also going to get the Love is Blind reunion, which already looks good. Even though reunions never give you what you really want, I'm excited to see what's going to come out of this. But until then, guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Basically Unbothered Recapped. Keep watching, stay in the loop, and definitely don't forget to like, subscribe, give me some 5 stars, guys. Please, 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 please. And follow us on social media. We are Basically Unbothered Podcast everywhere. So until then, bye. Pure Tifa Podcast.